I think about the past often. I think about how I would flip off other people in first grade instead of waving hi, because I learned it from my brothers and thought it was a cool thing to do. I think about one time I was bored in class, sitting on the multicolored carpet, waiting for reading time, and purposely tripping over another kid because I could. Why did I think that was a good idea? I think about how I was in pre-K and being excited to eat a chicken sandwich with cheese and chocolate milk with my friends at the supper time in the cafeteria, instead of going back home with the family. I think about when I was in preschool, after a fight with my oldest brothers and sisters. I ran away to one of my neighbors' houses to play in their sandbox with a little girl I was friends with. I think about how I would sleep at night with my mother because I was scared of the dark. I would awake to her sitting on the floor, hovering over a single candle as the shadows danced across the walls. She told me to go back to bed or I'd be taken away by the shadows. I hid under the blankets till morning for those next few nights. I think about how my eldest sister would bring me to her apartment to watch Scooby Doo every weekend. It was like a fun sleepover I looked forward to each week. I think about watching my older sister leave the house every other weekend with this older, white man and his family, and being jealous because I couldn't come along. I think about how she said it was her family, not mine, and shut the door as she left. Why couldn't I come along? Was it something I said? I think about in kindergarten, I was finally able to accompany my sister to this new home of hers. It was a nice neighborhood, with a trampoline and a dog to match the picket fence behind the house. No wonder she liked this place better than our old one. I think about how my sister and I had to be transported with this large lady who smelled of lavender and rosewater and carried a clipboard with her all the time. She always had snacks for us on the ride to and from houses. Rice cakes were our favorite. I think about when I would come back to my first home, asking my mother for a trampoline and a dog, and how she promised we would get them. We didn't. I think about how I had to be quiet because my father would be sleeping all the time. And if I couldn't be quiet, I had to go play outside in the park nearby with my brothers. The big red swing was my favorite to sit on. I think about in fifth grade how I was permanently living with my sister's family. They also had a big family with two brothers, and two sisters, plus the other sister we don't talk about anymore. We would go to Disneyland every few summers and go camping. I think about how my sister and I had to go to a big building with giant balls of light and talk to this old lady with short gray hair and always wearing a gray or black turtleneck. She would ask us questions about how we were feeling. Were we happy? Is there anything making us sad or scared? I think about when I was in fifth grade. I was visiting my real parents 3 times a month, just so we could talk and see them again after being put into a new home. They looked sad and I missed them. Sometimes I wished they would come home with us to the new house. They would have loved it. I think about how one day my sister and I stopped seeing our real parents. It was strange, but I forgot when it happened. We continued on with our lives as if nothing changed. I think about when I was in 8th grade and we got a new dog after the old one passed away. I asked my new mother if I, too, was like a dog who was bought off a breeder, and that was the reason why I moved to a new home. She was shocked and reassured me that I wasn't like a dog. I wasn't quite convinced. I think about when I was 18 and my new mother asked me if I wanted to know why I was adopted. I wasn't
Hmm.
really sure why, but I thought it was because they were old. Turns out, they were drug addicts. I think about how my life as a kid wasn't as innocent as I thought. Although I had resented the fact that my parents seemed to choose drugs over my sister and I still feel guilt upon not realizing it sooner and attempting to contact them one last time before they both passed away. I cannot say that I forgive them for what happened, but I can at least say that I'm starting to move on.